It's been 5 years since I started my entrepreneurial journey. 5 years since I've been creating on YouTube. Do I consider myself successful? Have I gotten to where I wanted to go? Was it all worth it? In this video, I want to tell you the story of a full-time YouTube creator, my story. I also want to talk about how YouTube has changed in the past 5 years and what I see for the future of this platform. So get comfy, it might be a long one.
Oh crap.
Yeah, what's it gonna be?
I don't want to be a YouTuber.
Just a little longer.
Help people understand how they can use digital media. Then you have me, who's like the YouTuber.
Just keep uploading.
What the heck was I going to do? (2016), the before and after. I think if you were to ask any YouTube creator about the first time they made a YouTube video, everyone would be able to describe it pretty vividly because it was that first one. Okay, so it's currently 7:03 on Friday, April 15th, 2016. But for a lot of people, the journey of the first actually starts before that, because I think for most people, it's not like, oh, I think I'm gonna try this YouTube thing, and immediately they grab a camera and start that day. There is some kind of like, let me think about it, I'm not sure if this is for me, and there's a lot of like internal debate, especially back in 2016. A lot of the words like YouTube creator and vlogger, you know, influencer, whatever you want to call it, these words didn't exist back then. And I think it was very rare, I know it was for me, to know someone else in your life or in your network that was creating content on YouTube. And so the impetus to create on YouTube was really almost like, I would describe it as waking up to the awareness that, oh, I could also make these YouTube videos that I'm watching on this platform. There's a realization that there is no barrier to entry. It's like literally anybody could do this. But I think back then, a lot of us needed permission. Vlog, vlogger, vlogging, or vlog if you weren't hip with the YouTube lingo. I created my YouTube account on December 31st, 2005. So I had been a consumer, a viewer of YouTube for a long time, but for some reason it just never occurred to me to make my own YouTube videos until I saw Casey Neistat.
When you have something to say, you can say it, and you can say it to everyone in the world, and you can do it without needing anyone else, without needing any resources outside of your reach. That's why I say vlogging is my favorite film genre.
And I can't explain to you how empowering it was to discover Casey Neistat. This is just a dude who had a career, who was successful, you know, not the stuff that was mainstream at the time, like gaming content or kind of like crazy, outrageous content on YouTube, sharing life lessons and, you know, motivation and actual takeaways that I felt like I could apply in my life.
Dreams matter, goals matter. And what they do is they serve as this guiding light that steers you through life. You keep your eyes fixed on that, and life may take you in all of these crazy trajectories, and along the way, you'll find what makes you happy. That pursuit may lead you to a place you could have never imagined, but a place where you're very, very happy.
And at this point in my life, I kind of felt like I was stuck. I was in the middle of a, you know, very successful marketing career, but I just felt unfulfilled. I felt like, I don't know, I was definitely at a point where the job was a job, you know, like I just was doing it for the paycheck, and I had accepted the fact that work is work and work is supposed to suck, so whatever, and fun stuff is for hobbies that you do on the side. Casey represented a world that I wanted to be a part of, where I could live my life on my own terms, doing what I wanted to do and make a living doing what I love. And he was constantly talking about how anyone has the power to reach people all over the world with their message because of these tools, because of YouTube. And as long as you have some kind of video recording device, you could totally make YouTube videos and share your story. And what was my story? Digital literacy. Around this time, I was very interested in this concept of digital literacy, The fact that now that there was the existence of the internet and these social media platforms and new media, which is what I love to call it, we were seeing this second renaissance, this new media renaissance where we can connect with anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I really felt that the key to success and happiness and all these goals that we set out for ourselves as humans could be unlocked and untapped with the power of the internet. But you had to be digitally literate. You had to understand how to use these tools, not just to post stuff, but to actually genuinely connect, communicate, and collaborate with people all over the world. I saw digital media as a tool that could be used for either bad or good. And I wanted to create something that would help with the good. So I came up with the idea of ShareSpark Media, which is the movement to educate and empower people to utilize digital media to achieve meaningful goals. And ShareSpark is based off of the idea of if you share your story, then you can spark your potential in ways that you would have never imagined because of the internet.
ShareSpark.
At this point, I'd quit my job because I was so excited about this and I was so passionate about it.
Now that I've taken this leap, it's been just the best thing that I've done like in my life. It's been the coolest thing ever, and I'm not making any money. So we'll see what I say in a month.
I had no experience starting a business. I had no idea. Like I had no plan, but I had never been so excited about something. And I remember one of my old coworkers, when I was still debating whether I should do this, she told me anyone can do this job. She was talking about the job I had at the school, but no one could do this. No one could do the thing that I was talking about. And it was the coolest feeling to think that there was something uniquely, like there was a challenge that I could uniquely solve. And because I was so excited about it, I was like, oh my God, this is the story that I'm going to document on my YouTube channel through vlogs. I had no idea how I was going to turn this into a business, but I figured that I could start by creating a second YouTube channel, so outside of my vlog channel, that had tutorials that promoted digital literacy, and I could send them to the people that I actually knew in real life.
What is a hashtag? What does a hashtag do? What does a hashtag mean? That's what we're going to be talking about today.
I figured that was a good place to start. I didn't even know how to spell the word entrepreneur before I discovered Gary Vee. And I'll never forget the very first video of his that I watched. It was to the class of 2016. I had watched that video in May of 2016. So I was just like 1 month into all of this stuff.
I'm scared that you don't realize that you're entering the greatest 5-year window of your life. If you're lucky enough to be graduating today with not a idea of what you're gonna do with your future, nobody's ever been luckier than you.
Gary's message in that video was the thing that I felt like I wish someone had told me a very long time ago. I can never describe to you how impactful both Gary and Casey's content was on me. I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for them, because there was something about two grown men who were successful to me and were doing something that I could resonate with, or I saw myself doing some aspect of it, saying that I totally could do the same thing because of these digital media tools. And as long as I had the patience and the willingness and dedication to figure it out and be creative, I could do this too. And I definitely wasn't the only one who was inspired by either Casey or Gary, because in 2016, there is a huge influx of new content creators on YouTube, many of whom were doing daily vlogs. 2017. Making money online. 2017 was the year of me understanding that I had the ability to make money online. It wasn't just this thing that other people did, but it was something that I could do, and it didn't have to be this like shady get rich quick scam thing. I could just offer services that I would offer in person, but I could use the internet to connect with people who have these needs anywhere. And so as I was still figuring out ShareSpark Media, I made money through the gig economy, right, as a freelancer. And I started with my current network. I started with the network that I had built over my marketing career. So working with people that I actually knew in person and offering stuff like social media marketing services and content creation and videos and stuff like that. This is where the gig economy really took off, because you had like Uber and Postmates and Upwork and Fiverr. There were these marketplaces that were popping up where you just had to basically say the services that you offered and you'd be connected with someone who needed those services. And it was a really cool thing because I actually had the experience of like, okay, even though you're never going to meet this person, people are willing to pay you if you can provide what it is that they need. That had never happened to me before. My only exposure to making money was like traditional careers where you report to a place and you do the thing and then you get the paycheck. There was also a big thing that happened where a year into my entrepreneurial journey in April of 2017, I got into my first car accident and I decided to live stream like myself processing that. I was physically fine. My car had needed to be taken in. It was still drivable, but totally like it needed to be repaired. But one of the subscribers that had tuned in had been following me for a while, and that live stream prompted him to reach out and see if I could help him with a possible project. And that project ended up totaling to $17,000. So the fact that I could get such a high ticket client from the internet was very eye-opening to me. It wasn't just like a $50 job or $100 job. This was like, okay, $17,000 is a lot of value that I'm providing to this client. So that's what was happening to me and my journey. But let's talk about what was happening on YouTube. In 2017, it seemed like the big YouTubers on YouTube were just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The connection that a creator has with their fans was like the most powerful thing that's ever existed, even more so than the fandom between just a traditional celebrity, because YouTube content feels so authentic and personal. It really feels like these creators are like friends. 2017 was also the first year that I went to VidCon, and I got to personally witness the craziness of a YouTube creator's fandom through Logan Paul. Logan Paul decided to just walk amongst the people who were at VidCon instead of taking the back doors and being escorted by security and stuff. And it just was the craziest mob of fans that I have ever seen, to the point where it was actually really dangerous. They were like jumping up in the fountains and someone could have really gotten hurt. He also had his like little, I think it was $10,000 search scavenger hunt thing, which was so weird because I didn't know who Logan Paul was at the time. And I remember that me and my friend Jermaine were standing by a planter just, trying to take a break from VidCon. And all these kids were like looking in the bush that we were standing next to. And I thought that someone had dropped something. So I was like over here, hey, can I help you find whatever it is that you're looking for? I had no idea that they were trying to look for the $10,000 that Logan Paul had hidden. And after that, there was now discourse that was happening around a creator's responsibility of their audience. I want to say this is where the word influencer really started to take off, because that was like the thing that people would describe that creators had over their audiences. They had so much influence, but it also felt like there was this energy with this next generation of creators that had, started in the past 2 years, many of whom were influenced by Casey and other similar creators like him. It was so much fun going to that VidCon. There was just it's like for the first time I found my people. It was, I had never felt like I belonged so much than when I went to that VidCon. Just seeing other people with cameras, seeing other people be creative and try to set up shots and collaborate and stuff like that. I mean, it was just the coolest thing. When I pulled out the camera here in my world, everyone was like, what is that? What is this for? What are you doing? Oh, you make YouTube videos? For what? How many subscribers do you have? How much do you make? So I left VidCon 2017 more motivated, more inspired, and more determined than ever. I truly believe, and I still do, that everyone has a story worth sharing. And if they want to share it in an impactful way, I want to help them do that. I was sure that I would never find anything that I would love more than my mission. Literally on the live stream where I was talking about my takeaways from this VidCon, I got a comment from this guy named Tom. And if you don't know this story, definitely encourage you to check out this video that explains the whole thing. But basically, the person that had left that comment is now my business partner and life partner, my husband, Tom Buck. 2018, shifting priorities. As someone who had given up on the traditional life path and falling in love and finding a life partner and all these things, my mid-30s hit me like a brick wall. Suddenly the thing that I had taken so much pride in and the thing that had changed my life was now no longer the most important thing to me. And honestly, I wasn't really sure how to deal with it. It honestly felt selfish because I was so dedicated to serving others. Like my whole mission was helping others, and now there was this person that I just wanted to spend every second of my life with him. And of course the inevitable happened where my vlogs suffered because instead of talking my thoughts and sharing what I was learning with the camera, I was now doing that in person to Tom. Because the momentum on my vlog channel was sporadic, it was hard for me to be consistent at it when there was no direct result or benefit, right? It was just kind of like, well, I can make a video and then maybe some people will watch it and that's cool, but there was no guarantee of pay, there was no guarantee of any income. I just wasn't at that level. I didn't have those numbers. And I'm sure to anyone who was watching, it was looking as if I was starting and stopping and starting again, because I would go through these bouts of okay, I'm going to pick it up again, and then I would stop. At the time, it seemed like the only way to see success as a YouTuber was to amass a crazy amount of views and subscribers, because even though we were starting to see these other supportive platforms like Patreon pop up, you still needed the crazy amount of numbers to make a living as a YouTube creator. Creator burnout was now part of the regular discourse that was happening around YouTube culture. Creator mental health and all of these things, people were now talking about it mainstream, which was good because I think that's I think that's important. I think that should have been part of the conversation. But I do find it interesting that burnout became so prevalent at the same time. All of a sudden, creators, regardless of the genre or the number of subscribers that you had, everyone was kind of going through this feeling of burnout. And to me, looking back, it came down to these three things. More than ever, it seemed like success depended on the numbers. And when you are chasing the numbers, you're just setting yourself up for failure because the goalposts always move. You can celebrate 1,000 subscribers and then now you shoot for 5,000, then you shoot for 10,000, and then it just keeps going, so you never feel accomplished where you are. You always feel like you have so much further to go. Also, the pressure of feeling like you had to create consistently, and if you didn't, you would lose the momentum, you would lose your AdSense, you wouldn't be sending signals to YouTube anymore that your channel was an active one and all of these things. And I honestly think that there was probably a quality that people just kind of threw out the window because it was more important to crunch out content than what the content even was. And the third thing was meeting the expectation of the persona that the creators built around their channel. And this is a tricky one since, the content on YouTube feels so authentic, and then when a creator does something that is not within the expectation of what the audience has seen consistently based on the content previous, that's when red flags would start to pop up. And creators felt like now there's this obligation of, I can't be who I really am because that's not the kind of content I create, or that's not my audience. So I'm going to start a second YouTube channel. And all of a sudden, the thing that was supposed to be the passion was now on this second channel and no longer on the main channel. And the fact that, creators were even put in that position of the first place is just a telltale sign of the situation on YouTube. When it came to ShareSpark Media, I felt like the best way for me to promote digital literacy was through my vlog, because when people saw my vlogs, when they saw me creating my content, they would be inspired to create their own content. And I felt like that was, when you become a content creator yourself, that's the best way to become digitally literate, because then you do the research on how these platforms work and how you can best share your message. You have the drive and dedication to now do that. You've been share-sparked is what I call it. And so I didn't have a business model outside of my vlog and freelancing and the gig economy, which I was still doing to make ends meet, but I just hadn't Like, my business hadn't gotten off the ground like I thought it was going to. On top of that, I also had to come to terms with the fact that I did not want to spend every waking hour to this thing anymore. I thought I did until I met Tom and we fell in love and we had a family. And if you were to ask me, you know, if it was my last day on earth, how I would want to spend my last day, it's not making YouTube videos, it's spending time with my family. So I needed to come to the realization of like, okay, if I only had a certain amount of time that I was willing to give of me to this thing, but this thing requires all of the work to amass a crazy amount of subscribers in order to see success, then what the heck was I going to do? 2019, floating. 2019 was by far the hardest year of my entrepreneurial journey. I felt completely lost. I mean, that vivaciousness and that gusto and that enthusiasm that I had back in 2016 had completely dried up. Like, it was just totally gone. I felt so defeated. I felt like I had failed. I felt like nothing was working. And it was a combination of feeling like I had been in survival mode for so long, trying this, trying that, really putting my all, really giving it everything that I had of me, and still not seeing any kind of sustainable momentum was just really tough on me. I had gone into this wanting to help people share stories, to promote digital literacy. Like, I had these goals of like wanting to serve, and nothing was working. I just could not figure it out for the life of me. I had doubled down on labeling myself as a YouTube coach, and the way that people were becoming digitally literate was by watching my vlogs. And so I was like, okay, not only am I going to just create vlogs and inspire people that way, but if people wanted to take another step, or if they wanted me to hold their hand and walk them through, then I could have services and products that would help people start their own YouTube channels. The problem was my subscriber count, because at this time, I don't even think I had 1,000 subscribers on my tutorial channel. I can't remember off the top of my head where I was with my vlog channel. I had made Zero to YouTube Hero, and I think at the time I was selling it for $150. And in order to see any, long-term success with a $150 product, I'm going to need a lot of people to go through that course. And so it was the same conundrum of like, I just don't have enough numbers to see success with this business model. And it was so frustrating because I had clients, right? Like, I had clients this whole time as a freelancer that clearly continued to work with me. So I knew that I had something to offer, but I wasn't sure how to create a business model that would allow me to offer my services sustainably. And so because this was my third year in, because I had given it my all for the past 3 years, I was really starting to feel like I was not good enough, because it wasn't for lack of trying, right? Like, I had given it my all, I had tried everything, and I still wasn't seeing success. On top of this, I had a diagnosis health issue situation that I was not expecting. It's not life-threatening, but it's something that I will live with for the rest of my life. And so that just was icing on the cake. I don't even know what I would have done if not for Tom. Like, the amount of tears, and it was just so hard. The thing is, I didn't want to give up, right? Like, I just felt like I had enough evidence that I could see long-term success. I didn't think that was just like me being optimistic. This gut feeling was coming from evidence that I was gathering from somewhere, whether it was YouTube comments or my client experiences, or, things that people had said to me, or emails I was getting. Like, clearly, I had evidence to prove that I could see success, but just I couldn't see the path to get there. So what I ended up doing was going back to my roots. I doubled down on local networking. So in my marketing career, I was super involved in the community with business networking groups, small businesses, connecting with nonprofits in the community, the chambers of commerce. Like, that was my world pre-YouTube. And I decided that when I moved in with Tom, here in Indio, I would get involved in this community and make myself known and just introduce myself as the YouTube coach here. In the summer of 2019, I was nominated to the board of directors of the Indio Chamber of Commerce. I got super involved with the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce, with volunteering with organizations, just being super present in my local community and doing traditional word of mouth, like here's what I do, here's what I offer, this is what I can do for you. And of course, by doing this, it worked because no one else was doing what I did. No one else knew YouTube. There was no other content creator in the Coachella Valley. And it was, a lot of small businesses looked at YouTube as new territory, right? Like they looked at it as a new way to market their products and services and promote their business. And so I decided begrudgingly to make the shift from B2C, business to consumer, to B2B, which is business to business, because businesses had the budgets. But I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't into it because it was totally opposite of like the mission I initially set out on, where I wanted people to share their genuine stories and have those stories make an impact on the people who would watch them. Whereas, businesses were just seeing this as a marketing opportunity. They literally looked at YouTube as just a digital billboard, which totally fine. There is something to be said about video marketing and YouTube marketing. I still help my clients do a lot of that, but it just wasn't my purpose. It was like, I could do that because I know how to do that. But if I were to ask myself, like, I definitely would rather be doing this other thing. So now I was in this fork in the road where I started to build up a lot of local clients and I had a lot of projects with them, to the point where I even considered becoming an agency because there was such a demand. There was like such a market for it locally. And then I also had Zero to YouTube Hero and, my one-on-one consultations with just regular people who wanted to share their stories on YouTube. And it all came back down to the same thing that I've been struggling with this whole time, which is like my passive income situation as a YouTube coach is never going to grow if I am competing with other YouTube gurus and coaches who have way more subscribers than I do, because who the heck am I to claim to be a YouTube coach when I myself don't even have 1,000 subscribers? Like, obviously that didn't matter to any of my clients. They knew the subscriber count that I had, but they chose to work with me anyway. So I knew that like the value I was providing was not based on the number of subscribers I had, but I didn't know how to wrap my head around that. I didn't know how to relay that message to like random people. So for the rest of 2019, what I decided that I would do instead of giving up was create tutorials for this audience. Even though a lot of the tutorials I created already existed 10,000 times over, like how do you get more views on YouTube? I decided to make those videos anyway because these clients, my clients, wanted to hear it from me. And so I stopped caring about the numbers because my clients didn't care about the numbers. I focused on how can I deliver the best value that I'm able to provide to the people who already wanted to work with me. 2020, the year of a global pandemic. It's so crazy thinking about 2020, isn't it? Like, I can't believe it's already been a year. I can't believe there was a global pandemic, a thing that everyone around the world was going through at the same time. Like, what a crazy thing to have lived through. And I think for everybody, 2020 really forced everyone to reevaluate their priorities, because we can no longer do things the way that we were doing because everything was shut down, right? So it's like we were starting to ask ourselves, like, what really matters and what can we do with the things that are in our control? For me, I lost all of my local clients immediately, because when you're trying to keep your doors open, obviously the marketing budget is the first to go. And I was actually okay with that, because as lucrative as it wasn't the thing that I initially set out to do, right? It wasn't my purpose. I didn't feel called to help people figure out YouTube marketing or video marketing. So because I could no longer work with my local clients, I decided to flip back from B2B to B2C. And my YouTube channel, the tutorials I made in 2019, were starting to see momentum that I didn't actually think would happen, since, I made them for the clients that I knew in person, but they were starting to pick up to the point where I was like, maybe I should revisit the online course business model. I've known about Mariah Cause since 2017, 2018, when I made my first online course on Teachable. And to me, she's the master of online courses. I really dig her approach and her philosophy when it comes to building a business online and helping people online. But I actually didn't buy anything from her until 2020. And when I finally did buy something from her, I enrolled in her accelerator program, which is $1,000 a month. It was definitely the biggest investment that I've made when it comes to my business and my professional development that came out of my own pocket. Of course, I enrolled in the program thinking that this program would teach me how to make the money, how to make that investment back. But also it was just, I needed the community. I needed the resources, because this whole time I had just been trying to piece it together and learn it on my own through watching all of the free stuff and the free tutorials and, blog posts and stuff. Like, I was trying to piece it together. And for the first time, I told myself, okay, I give myself credit for trying to figure it out. But you know what? I think I'm at the point where I'm willing to pay for someone else to show me how it's done and how they've seen success. And that was really empowering for me. So I haven't made that money back. I'm still paying more than I've made from implementing the things that I've learned. But 100% it was worth every penny in terms of the confidence that I found in myself, of the connections that I've made through the program. And more importantly, I didn't realize that I was going to be my own proof of concept of someone who doesn't even necessarily have a lot of disposable income, wanting to pay a premium for a service from someone that they trust, where that value that they're buying can make a significant impact on their life. And this matters because of what's happening now. 2021, doing things our way. I know it's only been 4 months into 2021, but I can honestly say that this has been the most significant year of my journey, since I started. And I am so glad I never gave up. I really have to stop and give myself credit, because it would have been 1,000 times easier to just give up and walk away. And there were a lot of times where I asked myself, am I totally insane? The writing's on the wall. At what point am I just in denial? Maybe I'm just literally not cut out to do this. But every single time I pushed on. And, there were a lot of reasons for that. Tom's support, support I was getting from everyone else. There are a lot of reasons why I didn't quit. But either way, I'm just so glad I didn't. In 2021, more than ever, I feel not only do I feel the momentum for a sustainable business model, but I'm seeing it. I can actually say that I am making a living doing what I love. And yeah, it took a long time, but hey, I've never been happier. There's something to be said about, the perspective of time. I don't think I knew what I wanted. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what was possible. I had to see what other people were doing. I had to try things, see if I liked it, see if I didn't like it. I had to learn the hard way. And now that I have experience, now that I could actually look back and see what worked and didn't work, I can ask myself, okay, what is it that I really want to accomplish here? What do I really want to do? How do I want to define my success in this digital world that I want to be a part of? And here's the one thing that I can confidently say. I don't want to be a YouTuber as it's most commonly known. I don't want to make 1,000 million videos. I don't want to feel like I have to, that there's this pressure of I have to create so much content. I don't want to have a massive fan base. I don't care to be famous. I don't care to be rich. I have a family. I want to be comfortable. And then I also want to make that money by doing what I love, which is helping people share their stories on YouTube. That's just what I want to do. And I don't think I need the numbers. I know I don't need the numbers to have that happen. So here are 3 major things that have happened so far in 2021, which will lead me to where I see the future of this platform that is YouTube. First things first is every single client, local or remote, that I've worked with has either been a repeat client or they have referred me to someone else that they know. And I think there's something to be said for that. clearly there is value in what I provide, regardless of the number of subscribers that I have. 2, my tutorial channel is really, like, I'm so proud of it. Again, not that many subscribers, but I love the community there. I love the YouTube Huddle Up, which is totally something that I started only this year. And I have so many ideas to make it better and better and better. The third thing is that Tom officially made his transition from full-time teacher to full-time YouTube creator, which we've talked about ad nauseum, plenty of videos on that. But these 3 things really made me stop and think, like, okay, where do I want to go from here?
This new economy, the passion economy.
The passion economy.
The passion economy.
Passion economy.
The passion economy is
the passion economy model, where people are going into business for themselves, developing an audience online, and providing maybe a product, a physical product, or an intangible service to a select set of customers and earning an income directly from them.
I feel like the passion economy is the thing that I have been trying to make happen since day one, but I just didn't have the words, the tools didn't exist yet. It had never been done before. And now the tools exist, people have done it, the proof of concept is there, and this is actually where the economy is trending.
This Slack channel literally has over 300 startups in it, building the infrastructure for creators to run their businesses. Oh my God.
So let me quickly explain what the passion economy is, because I also want to tell you why I think it's going to be a disruptor for the YouTube platform and the online business landscape in a very exciting way. Pre-internet, we had the widget economy, where businesses would make a widget or a thing that served a specific purpose. Consumers didn't care where the widget came from, as long as the widget did what the widget said it was going to do.
The mass production of the same sort of thing, getting better and better at making the same stuff faster and faster, cheaper and cheaper, and getting it to more places. And that is a form of growth that is revolutionary, but it is about sameness. It's about turning people into variations of the same thing. You have a job, it has a title, you have to suppress who you are to satisfy the needs of that job.
Then the internet arrived, and let's fast forward to the gig economy. Because of the internet, people could offer their services and products to people who had their specific needs all around the world. The thing with the gig economy is that it still didn't matter who the creator was.
When you request a car, you don't even know the provider that you're going to be matched with, because they've all been commoditized to these various service levels. Even though you had this very turnkey, convenient way to make $10, $20, it felt like you were sort of at the mercy of the platform.
The other thing with the gig economy is that because it's so service oriented, the only way to make more money is to put in more hours. So you had to deliver more people or deliver more food or take on more projects. And then there's the creator economy, where you have content creators and YouTube creators making a living by creating content on YouTube or whatever platform. The way that someone makes money in the creator economy is they create content, they build an audience around that content, and they monetize off of that audience. The cool thing about the creator economy is that it's so community driven. Fans of the community, viewers of the community want to support their creators so much that they'll donate through super chats, they'll sign up for Patreons, they'll buy t-shirts and whatever merch. One of the biggest problems with the creator economy is that there is no middle class, right? So you have the biggest YouTubers on the platform making millions and millions and millions of dollars, then there's this huge gap, and then there's everyone else who's barely making ends meet and not making enough to call it a sustainable income. Now let's talk about the passion economy. Not only can anybody succeed in the passion economy that wants to do this, the best part is that you don't need the crazy amount of numbers in order to see success. So how does that work? How is the passion economy different? Well, Kevin Kelly came up with this concept of 1,000 true fans, right? If you wanted to succeed in the creator economy, you just needed 1,000 people, 1,000 true fans to give you $100 and you'd be set. With the passion economy, it's not about the volume, it's about the depth. So instead of 1,000 true fans giving you $100 each, you get 100 true fans to give you $1,000 each.
The secret to growth, the secret to economic opportunity is not making the same thing billions of times as quickly and cheaply as possible, but creating special things that only some people want, but they want a lot. They want in a way that nobody wanted, the widgets of the widget economy.
Which sounds scary, especially if you're starting from zero. How are you going to get to the point where you get total strangers to be willing to give you $1,000 for something? But here's the thing, I am proof of concept. I totally did this. I didn't realize that this was like passion economy stuff, but I signed up for Mariah Coz's accelerator program, and it's not even just $1,000 over 12 months. It's $1,000 a month.
They're providing a service or a product that the end user does not view as a commodity. In other words, the end user actually cares about the individual who is providing that service or product and is establishing a relationship with them rather than just viewing the worker as a means to an end.
The data shows that this is where the economy is trending. I was listening to the co-founder of Patreon on a podcast, and he said that not only are they seeing a rise of patrons who are supporting creators through Patreon, they're also seeing a rise of people who are committed at the $100 level. So they're paying their favorite creators $100 a month. Guess what? That's over $1,000 over the period of 12 months. By approaching content creation with the business model of the passion economy, I think we're really going to see the build out of a creator middle class, where you have regular people making a middle class income by creating content. And the cool thing is that if you're making a middle class income off of content creation and building an online presence, you are totally set up to be able to scale that. Here's my biggest gripe with the creator economy. Most people who get into YouTube have hopes of it turning into a full-time thing, whether they want to admit it to themselves at the beginning or not. The problem is that building a YouTube channel is not a sustainable business model. It just isn't. You can give this your all, you can daily vlog, you can work at this 24/7 and still never see success. On the other hand, you could be one of the lucky ones who see success within their first 6 months. In the passion economy, YouTube is not the business model. Making as many YouTube videos as possible and getting as many subscribers as possible is not the business model. Most of the money that you would make as a YouTube creator in the passion economy is probably going to come off of YouTube. So maybe you have an online course or a group coaching program. And that's where the creativity goes. It goes into really understanding the needs of your audience and offering something that would really be transformational to their needs.
People are now able to lean into these small niches where probably it was very difficult to monetize that niche if you were just restricted to your local geographic region. Yeah. But people can leverage now these social networks and marketplaces that have reached massive scale and connect with people all over the world that share that interest in that particular topic, and be able to monetize and craft a livelihood from a relatively small number of customers around the world.
Now, this might sound like this is the answer to everything, especially if you're a YouTube creator yourself that's been trying to grow a YouTube channel, but let me give you a few disclaimers. Number one, you have to offer something of value that goes beyond your videos. So in the creator economy, the YouTube videos are the product. And you make them as good as you can, you try to make as many as you can, and you try to reach as many people as you can to see success. In the passion economy, you have to offer something that's truly valuable to your viewers, right? Something that they are willing to pay a premium price for.
Because the other economy is supply and demand. It's based on, I mean, you talk to economists, you price at the point of indifference. You price at the point where, all right, I kind of want gum. I don't want gum that much. All right, fine, I'll get it. That's literally the strategy for pricing mass market goods, the point of indifference. And we're talking about pricing at the point of maximum intensity. It's right, yeah. It's a total refutation of how business works.
Number two, you have to care about your people. The passion economy business model only works if there is reciprocation, right? The creator is just as important as the audience. So in the creator economy, you have the audience supporting the creator, but the creator just sees the audience as just like this faceless fandom. They don't necessarily know all the people because there's just too many people. In the passion economy, the value goes both ways. So if we go back to the 100 true fans that you want to build in the passion economy, you have to know those 100 people intimately. Number three, it's not for everyone, for sure. The tricky part about the passion economy is that the thing that you're probably going to sell doesn't exist yet. That's why it works, right? Because you're creating a service or a product that's so specialized for a very specific person that has a very specific need. And sometimes those needs don't become apparent until you start building the relationship with the community. Then you can start to think like, oh, I'm noticing a pattern where, here's the thing that I can offer that would help these people. So not only do you have to be creative, but I think you do have to have a sense of business savvy. I mean, you are basically approaching content creation as a business at the forefront rather than as an afterthought. But if you are willing to figure that out, you could totally legitimately make a living doing what you love on your terms without the pressure of having to chase these crazy numbers. Now, here's how I think the passion economy is going to shift things on YouTube. 1, your worth is not determined by your number of views or subscribers. When you're constantly chasing the numbers, it's super tempting to compromise quality and integrity for something that's more salacious and eye-catching and like has shock factor and oh my gosh, everything's a secret. People who find your videos truly valuable are more likely to share your content with someone who's in the same boat. So it's less about praying to the algorithm gods. Of course, we're on YouTube, so there's still, we still have to play the game. But when you focus less on how do we get as many people as possible to discover our content and watch our content, and more about how do we make more of an impact to the people who are already here, I mean, that's a totally different game. Number 2, the right to refuse service. This is one of my biggest things with YouTube is the negative comments and the trolls. And of course, that comes with the territory. That's not going to change. And you could totally block, delete, and ignore, and problem solved. But I find it annoying that the responsibility of dealing with that in the first place lies on the creator. There's no way to permanently ban a troll from crapping all over your content. The thing is, when you go broad, you are bound to start reaching people who are not aligned with your values. Because the approach is like, if I'm trying to reach this person, right? Because I know this person is going to dig my content, then I just have to get my content in front of all the people between me and that person until I get to that person. And a lot of the people here might not be your fans. Brick and mortar businesses have the right to refuse service. So if you are being an we can kick you out. But what brick and mortar businesses also do is they target a very specific set of people with a very specific set of needs. They don't try to target everybody. So instead of the goal being an increasing amount of subscribers where anyone and everyone needs to subscribe to your channel, why not forget that completely and focus on the depth and the impact that you're making on the people who are there, even if it's 50 people, 100 people, 500 people. Number 3, less competition. By leaning into your individuality as a creator and really honing in on what you're passionate about or your weird obsession or whatever it is that your channel is about, you virtually eliminate competition because what you offer is so unique. Even when you are offering a product that's similar to somebody else's, your people are going to choose you because it's your experience, your approach, your philosophy, your personality, the way that you do it. Telling your story, being personal, showing who you are on your YouTube channel is more critical than ever in the passion economy because it's what differentiates you from everyone else. So to wrap this up, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the creator economy. I have peers, even Tom is starting to branch into having, 65,000 subscribers and growing. And there's nothing wrong with that business model of trying to get as many subscribers as possible and monetizing through either AdSense or affiliates or brand sponsorships. But for me, when I look back on why I started this journey in the first place, it wasn't to become a huge popular YouTuber. YouTube wasn't even on the table. It was just meant as a way for me to document my journey. And this is why I'm so excited about the passion economy, because YouTube is not the end game. YouTube is a means to an end. More than ever, you can use YouTube and all these other tools to truly make a living doing what you love without having to constantly chase numbers. And this leads me to how I'm shifting my business moving forward. Yes, I'm still a YouTube coach, But now I'm a YouTube coach that specializes in helping YouTube creators thrive in the passion economy. I'm not here to help you be the biggest or the best on YouTube. I'm here to support you in using YouTube to build a community of people that would truly find value in the thing that only you can create. And I'm so excited about this, if you can't tell. I just have a confidence in myself and how I can serve people in a way that I have never had on this entire journey until now. So the future of YouTube has never been brighter.
And if you want to make a living by doing what you love and making videos on YouTube,
this is your time to shine. All of us use digital media in some aspect of our lives to keep in touch with family and friends, to do business, to get information, and to play.
digital media has brought about a new renaissance that allows us to connect, collaborate, and communicate like never before.
Actually, that's how we met, because digital media gives us a voice and provides us with different perspectives.
It allows us to share ideas with anyone,
anywhere,
anytime.
But because all this digital technology is still relatively new, it can be hard to figure out how to effectively use these tools.
That's why we created ShareSpark TV.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Tom, and on ShareSpark TV, we break down the impact of digital media on news, pop culture, and the world around you.
Our goal is to educate and empower you to utilize digital media to achieve meaningful goals. This is ShareSpark Media. Share your stories.
Spark your potential.